letting go, relaxation practice, the do nothing meditation. How much quote-unquote effort do you put into this non-effort of releasing? That can be a little spectrum that you can play around with, so we can talk about that. You can either really just do nothing, not even try to release, or you can kind of go in there and just be mindful of the direction of attention, and then just let that direction of attention be there. So that's already a little bit more vipassana effort in there. And I have to recognize where the attraction is, and then releasing. And then even that process of releasing, that can be a little special you can play around with. When I used to be pretty solidified, the balls were bigger, and not just in the head, but they're kind of like in the body, over the body. Very big solidity. So like I actually had to like make more effort in releasing. So I have to like recognize the solidity and then go in there and take it apart in a very, very gentle way, applying as little force as possible. But even that effort is tiny amount of effort compared to like drilling your breath into emptiness, or like body scanning, where you're just like being aware of and dissolving every speck of solidity in your body mind. That's max effort concentration, max effort attention training versus letting go of attention. Yeah. But the true do nothing meditation, when you take do nothing meditation to the extreme, you don't even do the releasing part anymore. You can, the releasing part will just be done by itself. All you have to do is abide in that fill in the blank, or abide in that space where you can't even move. It's not like you can't move, but it doesn't feel like you're moving because there's no mover. There's no one there to move. There's no one there to drop off. There's no one there to recognize anything. But all the recognition, dropping the ball, can still happen when you're like, I call it disappearing into the universe, right? When you disappear into the universe, whatever practice you do, whether dropping the ball, even body scanning can be done in that space too. And it would just be part of the objective phenomenon. That's the true letting go. You could just tell a random person on the street who's never done any practice, just completely let go. They probably wouldn't be in that place because they still have so much tension that you deconstruct before you can truly abide in that fill in the blank, or that singularity where you kind of just disappear into the world. Any kind of subjective experience will just be part of the world. That's why you completely erase the dwelling in subject and object. When you're in that space, there's no such thing as even subjective experience. This singularity has no dimensions, no time, no space, yet at the same time. Yeah, it manifests and contains all times and all space simultaneously. So any kind of thoughts and feelings you have, it's just part of the world, because you erase the subject. So from that place, you can still do the practice, but you won't be doing it, it's just the universe doing it. So if you objectify everything, the subject disappears. So it kind of feels like there's only the objective world, which is the same thing as saying there's only the subject with no objects. But if I have to lean towards one side of the description versus another, it feels more like everything is the object. Everything is objectified. But this objective world, quote unquote, and its objects and phenomena are holographic, empty, and luminous. But to get there, you have to rewire your mind to a certain degree already to be that relaxed. And to be relaxed, like I said, the best description I can have is that you can't really do anything. It's just been done. But in that state, it actually feels like a form of like cosmic concentration, because you feel like this entire field, for lack of a better word, is just kind of concentrated on itself. So like when I look out into the world right now, the buildings that are like, you know, on the next block or whatever, it's actually being concentrated in the same intensity as when I look at my finger. But it's not just like front and back, right? It's all direction. Actually, directionality is also a construct. So you can say that awareness is equally awake in all directions, which makes it panoramic. It's this whole field is equalized. But of course, the word concentration applies some kind of effort. So it's hard to describe, but it almost feels like awareness is just there, and awareness is always just itself. It's always perceiving itself in a sense. But even this field is not like a stable thing either. For liberation to happen, you can't hang on to anything, not even any sense of a ground or like an eternal awareness, Brahman, or consciousness. So anytime you experience some kind of absolutism, there's a self, whether that's a big self or small self, doesn't matter. There's clinging there. There's some identification that you haven't looked at. Eternity still presupposes time, and infinity still presupposes space. You go beyond the beyond. So this whole notion about awareness being some kind of a substrate or container where sensations or objects are rising in and out of must be deconstructed. There's no container of space and time for even transformation to take place. The world doesn't become Brahman. Emptiness doesn't vibrate into form and vice versa. Brahman is the world. When you collapse time, all sensations are non-arising, non-abiding, and non-ceasing. So it's kind of like a video game, right? So when you become this entire game, whatever isn't rendering in the present moment doesn't exist.
The simulation begins and ends with your direct experience of the isness. You can't find the present moment. They say that you can't step into the same river twice, but actually you can't even step into the same river once. If there's only the flow, even the river disappears. Ultimately, there's no distinction between foreground and background. So instead of experiencing awareness as this background structure, a container that sensations are passing in and out of, awareness itself, not a ground, is just part of the causative conditioning, just like everything else. So when you become this entire quote-unquote field, every time you shift your head a little bit, it's a new field. Awareness is constantly refreshing itself and then collapsing, refreshing itself and collapsing. And it's happening so rapidly that the rising and passing away happens spontaneously and simultaneously. Without the process of time, there is no rising and passing away in a linear fashion. Speed of light, when it's going so fast at the speed of light, everything becomes a standstill. So there's a sense of stillness and stability when everything's free-flowing on groundless ground. And this is when you go beyond even coming and going. That's what the word Tathagata means, which is the word that the Buddha chooses to call himself. The Tathagata is truly gone but not yet arrived. You can't even find the consciousness of a Buddha. And this is when you go beyond or collapse in a duality between existence and non-existence, neither being nor non-being. And to truly experience this, you just gotta completely relax and do nothing. And you can't experience the do nothing at this level if you still have a center. If there's still a center, there's going to be a bubble to experience. So instead of looking at time and space as some kind of a container, space and time itself, or even consciousness, is just more sensations.
I have that
More
problem.
mental construct. But be careful not to verify sensations either. So there's absolutely no proof in
feel
direct
the bubble
experience right now that it's the same awareness that you're using to perceive the world versus like 10 years ago, 5 minutes ago, 5 seconds ago, or even like somewhere down the line in the future. Whatever you think is eternal awareness is just being fabricated right now. In the present moment that is also empty. And when I say emptiness, I'm not saying things don't exist. Neither am I saying they exist. I'm not talking about some kind of inherent voidness. Emptiness is not a substrate, it's not nothingness, it's not the source of everything. Emptiness is not stillness, not silence, it's not having no thoughts, and it's definitely not nihilism. And when I say emptiness, again, it's just the process of how everything is a codependent rising process. This arises because of the condition of that. And when the conditionality of that ceases to exist, this ceases to exist. And awareness cannot exist without the object of awareness, and vice versa. Even nothingness is just another object in awareness. Brahman or God-Maya are just more processes of causes and conditionings, and not the source of reality. So nothing has an inherent existence apart from this codependent rising process. There's no the one because everything is changing, except for the projection that yourself is still hanging on to.
Even having awareness is conditioning. Yeah, but then you don't have the conditioning around the conditioning. Even just like every word I'm saying here is conditioning. Yeah, so if everything is conditioning, then nothing is conditioning.
If I have to describe what you are, you're the intersection of infinite webs on infinite webs of causes and conditionings, and all of them are impersonal. So you're neither the same or different from conditions on which you depend. You are neither severed from nor forever fused with them. This is a deathless teaching. So you are neither separate nor one with the universe. And this is the middle way's teaching. Do nothing meditation is simply a process of unbinding any resistance to this interest net, where there are no nodes, no separate controllers, observers, source, or consciousness, outside of the stream of dependent arising process interacting, where even the strings are empty. I talked to a physicist yesterday. He was like, you simply disappear into entropy, into the laws of nature without interference. Samsara is not other than nirvana. Yeah. When there's absolutely no duality between awareness and sensations, perception, and objects, everything becomes kind of disjointed. But this disjointedness actually creates a kind of a peace and stability. And this is the middle way. It's that which transcends even a distinction between impermanence and permanence, between the one and the many. If you're holding on to oneness, you haven't seen through emptiness. If you're holding on to emptiness, you haven't seen through emptiness. Even the notion that quote-unquote everything is a construction is in itself another construction.
But for the do nothing meditation, I do think it's kind of important to just let awareness be a ground. This boundless, vast spaciousness, timeless awareness is your object of meditation in do nothing meditation. And then you just stay here until like thoughts come up, contractions come up, hindrances come up, and you recognize it, release it, go back to the object of meditation, which is the objectless awareness, which is still an object. So while you're still practicing, like there's ocean people say you hold the view, right? There's still a little tiny bit of effort in holding the view.
Now, if you can hold boundlessness, you gotta be pretty relaxed. And then eventually you want to walk around and just do very difficult things even while holding the view. Ultimately, you're going to let go of even that view. And the view is just going to hold itself without any
It's
effort.
going pretty good,
That's
Jamie.
when
How are
let
you
go of
doing?
letting go and surrender to surrender. So the paradox is when you take the do nothing meditation to the end point, you're not even
kinda
trying to do
crashing
nothing
out a
anymore.
little
You're not
bit.
even trying to
Not
be
gonna
aware.
lie.
There's nothing to hold on to. There's nothing to
300,
push
nice.
away, and there's
Thank
nothing
you.
to let go
Appreciate
of.
it.
Don't rush forward. Don't step back. Don't stand still either.
You know, some of my videos I said the seeker can never wake up or the ego can never meditate. And you get a really deep insight into this once you take a do nothing meditation to the max effort degree.
The field knows itself, sees itself with intense clarity. We can also experience it like when you see an object, it's kind of like glowing.
They call it luminosity. The
I thought
luminosity
I was
is
going to
just
say
awareness.
something, but I've forgotten.
And since all sensations are on equal footing, the building 5 blocks down and my finger right now are equally self-cognizing, and they're cognizing in their own place, so to speak.
Oh, well.
Even though this distance is also a construct.
Oh, yeah.
Also, you also get a sense of like
Yeah,
yourself
I've
distance.
just been like
Because
dissolving
everything
as
is
much
the
as I
same
can.
luminosities. Even
mentally,
every quantum particle of
because
this
thinking
whole
has
field,
been
including
hurting
the sensation
a lot.
here, I'm out the same thing. They have to be neutralized. Because the direction of attention is actually what's making a certain portion of the field more desirable or more luminous than other ones. That's actually a form of contraction or cleaning. Sometimes people like to do another meditation with their eyes open, completely relax their eyeballs, so like their peripheral vision is actually the same as whatever is like directly in front of them. Because without this direction of attention that's prioritizing a certain like spots in the field, it's just this whole field is just one spot. Very boundless. Yeah, and it also gives you the insight that you're not looking out for the world. Also, you feel like you're blind and deaf because there's no seer, there's no hearer, right? That it's very easy to get an insight into how sight is just seeing itself, and that's the most direct, the simplest way to perceive reality. When you're sitting around or waiting for a coffee or whatever, just constantly try to relax the eyeball. There's so much conditioning in the eyes or the jaw,
That's so
just in the
fair,
head
bro.
in general. There's like there's so much conditioning.
I've
in
been
the
in a
visual
state
field.
of constant
So just
pain
completely
for a
relax the
while,
eyeballs
too.
as if they're just like floating in the back of your head in space, and then take an entire field and do not look at any particular objects. Even after you realize anatta, my
So now I'm
analogy is
trying
like
to just,
you
like,
see a tree, after you
absorb
remove
all
the
of
trunk,
the
all the leaves and branches
sensations
can still be there.
in
They're
the
just like
body
floating in midair. And the
of,
rest
like-
of the path, or like the path of
Like all of the
integration, cleaning up, is
contractions
just let
inside the
those
body that are resulted
leaves
from
and
the
branches
fear.
are still floating in the air
And
because they were so
let go
conditioned to
of
think they're
them
attached to a
one by
trunk,
one.
and just let them dissipate, let them dissipate.
Let them dissipate.
And
Let
you
them
can see that
dissipate.
even after you remove the subject-object duality, when there's no more direction of attention going from the subject to the object, there can still be embedded within each floating sensation some kind of attention there, just due to conditioning. So that's when your practice gets really, really subtle. This little floating thought here, even though it's not coming from a thinker, it's still a little bit contracting. Why is that? Because there's still embedded in there the illusion of direction of attention that's still trying to grasp onto an object. And you just recognize that and release it. So it can be dropping a very big ball or dropping a microscopic ball. But even like Vipassana, even though I say it's like on the other side of the extreme, when you get down to it, when you get to the more subtle realm of Vipassanalizing, you have to start to Vipassanalize.
better now
Not
that
just the
you're, like,
Vipassanalizer, but the Vipassanalizing.
state?
Because with
Because I had no idea
it's
what
all
it was
about,
like that I was
training
mentally
your
calm,
attention
my
to,
body was
pay
in
attention
panic
to
mode.
the head, pay attention
No,
to
I
the
totally
sensation
feel
before
you.
go down your body. Right, there's direction of attention involved, and same here is called that kind of meditation dual mindfulness. And then the non-dual mindfulness is kind of just, I call it doing vipassana from the God mind. Other traditions call it vipassana. So when you do vipassana, it's kind of the merging of do nothing meditation and vipassana. It's vipassana from the perspective of the infinite space. But to even do that, you have to have some kind of access to the spaciousness already. So that's why at the end, even view vipassana is no different from do nothing meditation, really. If you take vipassana to the end point, you're gonna
Can't
end
roll
up in
that
the
one.
same spot as do nothing meditation.
It's
where
very.
you're gonna
It's not
try do
odd
vipassana,
to
it's
have
just
an
automatic.
experience of physical
There's only a
anxiety
certain amount of concentration and
without a
mindfulness to be able to
mental-
take very
a
subtle
clear
stimuli
mental
and
trigger.
contractions. Not to mention, you need a certain type of mindfulness and
'Cause the
concentration
body
to be able to
is
hold
always
infinite space before you reach your life.
holding energy within it. You
Now,
know,
the reason why in Dzogchen traditions
the
they ask you
space
to
in
do a
which
few years of preliminary practices like dual mindfulness, and
bodily
Vipassana and
panic in
concentration
which
for a couple of years
thoughts
before they hand you the
that
highest
are
teaching of the do nothing meditation. Why? Because
disordered,
the more you can
it's the
contract
same
your attention
space.
to
It's
a
not-
size
it's
smaller
not a
than
separate
an atom,
space.
the more you can expand and come out the other side and become infinity.
the same space.
a lot of the Zen traditions, they don't even go into Vipassana or
Thanks, don't put me in
they
the
just
ups
tell you
and
to
downs so
sit.
quickly
Like,
I don't
the
have
whole
time to
practice
get
is just sit.
attached.
If
That's
you
good.
just sit and stare at the wall
Yeah,
for
you-
10 years,
You just
you're gonna release all your contractions and conditioning. But if you throw in some Vipassana and concentration work in there, I bet the process will be faster.
yeah. Like
But
he's
you're like, which
saying,
one's faster? Should I do
allowing yourself
Vipassana or
to just
sit,
go up
right?
and down.
You're drilling the mountain from both
It's very
sides.
good
Some people
as
just drill it from one
a
side
very good
and
way
then
of
they go through it. Some people drill from the other
releasing
side, they go
tensions.
through it. Some people do a little mixture of both, they drill from both sides. Another practice you can do is meditate on emptiness, quote unquote. It's kind of like a version of the do nothing meditation. You focus on the empty space between objects, or the air, or the space between thoughts, meditating on negative space. But the ultimate insight is bringing that negative space into form and realizing that there's no distinction at all between form and entity.
Yeah, so maybe there's a way
what the
you can stand on the grass and let me observe. So all you can see is mud and water.
You can do it. Yeah. I'll stay on the grass, and then do a bridge. Yeah.
His
Can you show
boss
the
makes
guys the
Placidus
map
acts
of
look like
the
a
constructing sensory
child.
experience? The 4 levels of experience from dual vipassana to non-dual vipassana to do nothing meditation.
So like we talked about that 4 layers, 4 stages. First, like when we approach the vipassana from the body scanning route, then we take the conceptuality into phenomenon, into waves of changes and into awareness. But now when we talk about letting go and still scanning, so to speak, then it's like embodying in that awareness and then go up, go up, go up again.
Your body in the 4th level was just pure awareness. But then all the more solidified version of that on
Me?
the top, like concept can still rise.
I feel pretty
Sticky
conscious.
thoughts can still rise. Or
But
like
yes.
emotional tensions can still rise. And then just kind of dissolving the solidity on the top of the
I'm
stack
like
into
trying
from the 4th layer.
dissolve
Only to realize there's never a
much as
distinction
possible.
between awareness and sensation.
Because
Or between
I can
perception
really,
and anything.
really strongly feel how much.
When the subject, the object, and the
camera's
direction of attention that points from the subject
Oh,
to the
yeah,
object
yeah.
are all seen as part of the field, then it's easy to just like dissolve them. And just see that, another insight just again, is to see that both the subject, the object, and the direction of attention
I've
are
returned.
also just self-luminous sensations that are just a little bit more contracted
I
than
got,
the
I
last
got
station
caught under my
states.
blanket.
Oh, that's insane, dude.
A lot of people, the first time they experience the awareness, like spacious boundlessness, that can be such a big experience for them that they can go like insane in the next few months.
If they still have a lot of emotional baggages that hasn't been like seen through or whatever,
Hello
which
again.
is of course that's going to be the case for almost everybody. That's why people after they access the vast pictures, they're going to go through periods of like integration or even feeling like dark night of the soul. It's the rest of your conditioning respond to this groundlessness that creates this grasp and this fear. Same with bliss.
Or even like
Bliss is actually a form of contraction, actually. Yeah. One of the most common one is embodying awareness, and the rest of the stuff think that awareness is either you verify into like some kind of a substrate, or you just like frame this whole thing around like the nature of reality, or okay, reality is made up of awareness, I am awareness, or God. You can easily get stuck in there.
Cooked.
In the do nothing space, it's not a state really. That fill in the blank, that singularity doesn't actually exist. I used to say it's like this singularity that manifests all of it, the non-existence that manifests all of existence. But there's not a transformation there. It's not like, oh, I'm abiding in the singularity and then I watch everything vibrate into existence through the fill in the blank of non-existence. That there can be a stage like that, but even that duality is completely gone. So
Real.
it's just what
I
it is.
love chicken.
I think Adyashanti calls it the dark light of the absolute.
I actually made some slides.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's see the slide.
I can't even like walk up close
If you
to
look
this guy
at
without
Thurston's
getting
writing,
immediately cooked.
he says, don't underestimate what it means to let go. So I invite you to pause the video and really spend some time looking at his writing. But essentially he says there are even different degrees and stages towards letting go or towards do nothing. At first we may think that it's just, okay, a matter of just drop effort. How hard could it be? But actually, then
Like
we
saying
wouldn't
there
really
is,
have
like,
the ability to penetrate
real.
into experience. Or we don't even have the ability to rest.
There's like that constant want to recreate a solidity even when the body starts to dissolve completely. It's like immediately grips me at like the base of my spine. And then when there's like a peak again of like awareness of movement, when the stillness wants to move out of, like the effortless effort, then there's also an attempt to cling onto that comes really quickly, where my brain wants to stay in that flow state, and that will snap me out of it.
In just the what is. So actually, one way to look at letting go or do nothing is cultivating max effort samatha, which is resting, and vipassana, which is penetrating and seeing clearly with no effort at all. So it actually can be said as a quite advanced practice in that way. And even when you cross into non-duality, there could be still that
reminding me to
internal
like
awareness,
rest my
that internal
eyes.
Consciousness pervading
see
everything.
better
That's that background that everything
when
is
my
arising
eyes
out
are
of.
not
That could
focused.
be something that's not let go of.
The more I focus
So,
my
yeah,
eyes, the less I can
a
see.
lot of teachers like Rupert Spira or anyone who emphasize on that really Brahman idea of an absolute reality, if you tell them to let go of that, maybe they would have resistance towards that. So yeah, letting go is not something that easy to do. Simple, but maybe not so easy. So yeah, like today we're talking about the third of the trifecta
Holy crap.
that we mentioned from the very beginning. So we talk about concentration, self-inquiry, and now today we're talking about the do nothing side of it. So stop resisting resistance. On one side, we can actually feel there's an increase in lightness. On the other side, we have an increase in acceptance, or just ability to roll with whatever's going on. And from these two axes, at first, a lot of people are talking about like firmly renouncing contraction. Immediately when you recognize there's a contraction, you release it, and then you relax, and you keep doing that. So that's starting from a pretty heavy place, with not like you don't really accept contraction as it is, so to say. You still do something with it, but then even that gets also dropped or gets seen as the resistance to, because you're still choosing between this side and the other side.
You're still trying to like hold the view. There's still a little bit of effort in there. Even on the microscopic sensorial level, that can also apply. You can get obsessive about trying to find every contraction and then releasing it and releasing it. But then you realize, wait, there's actually, you don't even need to release anything. Just let them be there. Be stuck in
Yeah, it just does itself.
But in the beginning, you do kind of have to like practice how to release. What does that even mean to release? Is it just letting things be there and not do anything at all from the dynamic center's flow? Yes, ultimately yes. But then for a lot of people, they can't do that yet.
Yeah, because what is doing
work their
that?
way into it to truly do nothing. So then even the word release can have different connotations. I mean, there's like a more raw kind of release where you recognize the solidity and then you kind of just go in there and then just release it, and then maybe less and less, or even that, just let it be there, until like you're not even trying to let anything be there. That's why I always say you gotta strike the right chord, the balance, the perfect balance between effort and effortlessness, between surrendering and intention, between alertness and relaxation. And just adjusting that dial is the play of meditation. It's almost like playing music, just finding that perfect balance between expansion and contraction until both disappears. Because it's so balanced, you can't tell the difference between expansion and contraction. Kenneth Folk has this really interesting model he calls free speech transmission. Like he makes an analogy between the different practices and different states of consciousness.
This is ancient knowledge that's been vibing around the earth for thousands of years.
The first speed is
I am not the first person to discover this.
Concentration stuff. The second speed is more like self-inquiry or awareness of awareness. And the third speed is the do nothing realm. Yeah, it's the centerless dynamic flow, or existing flow, like the whole time without even trying to abide shinei, even trying to be aware of awareness.
But
he said you can
by the grace of God I have.
Sometimes you need to be first.
Whatever it is.
Sometimes you need to be the second transmission, sometimes the third. Like potentially or ultimately, the goal is to be
but by the grace of whatever else,
if you in the third, like 99% of the time,
the same grace,
1%
you're
had
here
argument with your wife,
also.
then you can still do vipassana, even from 3.
able
So
to
this graph right
witness
here will
this
be kind of
knowledge,
like
because
the 3
a lot of
stages
people will never
within
ever
the
hear
third
this,
stage. You can
ever.
start to perceive
You'll
the
never
fractals
hear
in
this.
your practice. After
It would,
enough
and even
time,
if they
all your
did
practice
hear it,
will
it would
get
make
better.
no sense to them.
When you
at all.
experience reality as this infinite self-driving car, even when we hit a bump on the road, the car will just automatically course correct itself through the course of the least resistance.
I was saying Alan Watts would say, like, he'd be like, there's no problem in telling everybody that they're God because no one would believe you. It's not really an info hazard. Okay, how do you dodge these attacks if they hit you after you roll? Tell me that much.
First R is recognize. The second R, TWIM, stands for Tranquil Wisdom Insight Meditation. The TWIM method uses metta, loving kindness, as the basis for the development of the unification of mind.
Also, I
jhanas, and
realize
insights leading to
I can't
awakening.
lead anybody ever unless I'm like fully
The
destroyed.
unique thing about TWIM is that
And
it uses
the destruction
what the Buddha
sounds
originally
bad, but like
taught by
destruction and
combining
rebirth are
various
truly the same
elements
thing,
from
right?
other contemplative
It's like the
CrossFit
second
exercises,
you
such as
pause
mindfulness,
this for a second.
vipassana.
The second you like eliminate conditioning, then something new emerges out of it. Like it's not like the so and so nothing, the so and so emptiness. Emptiness is devoid of emptiness. You find the same background, the same luminosity behind the constructed reality. So it's not like I remember where I was going with this tangent.
And do nothing meditation, while using metta, the feeling of loving kindness, as the object of meditation.
Whatever.
It is the practice designed around right effort to find the middle way, the perfect merging and transcendence of contraction and expansion between practice and non-practice, effort and effortlessness. In the original sutra, the Buddha spoke frequently about the jhanas and loving kindness. Why? Because he realizes that all the mind wants is to be happy.
The jhanas are the cultivation of tranquility and ultra states of consciousness to understand the mind through direct experience. In this video, we're going to take a look at the different kinds of cravings and their roots, the TWIM technique instructions, handling dark nights and addictions, how to access jhanas or samadhi through relaxation versus concentration, the mechanics, progression, and the phenomenology of each jhanas from 1 through 8, ending with a cessation, how that relates to loving kindness to produce insights into the nature of mind and reality to eradicate suffering. What exactly are jhanas and samadhis? What is the deathless? And what is the moment-to-moment experience of the unconditioned? And the importance of not taking the path too seriously for the most optimal gains.
I follow you since like 2012. A couple of years ago, you took all this spiritual trip. Mind blowing, man.
The Buddha never really taught too much about like hardcore concentration on the breath, like dissolving the breath into particles and then into like empty space, like drilling down the sensation like we do in Vipassana. Instead of what Buddha meant when he said mindfulness, it's more like just a collected, tranquil, equanimous mind. And then just to kind of not even concentrate on that, but just be aware, sink into that feeling of loving kindness. Buddha figured out like this might be the best way to get people into certain states of consciousness.
In the world of samsara, we are looking for happiness in worldly pleasures. Why not replace the mind's intrinsic need for joy with altered states of consciousness, like jhanas and the feeling of loving kindness?
Or ketamine.
So jhanas are almost
Both.
like a rehab center for the mind.
Both.
Cultivation of jhanas, in
You-
a way,
you need
it's
both.
for you to cultivate kind of.
Because one
bliss.
without the other is just
But then you're just using
well,
that as a tool.
one surpasses the other
The Buddha said,
infinitely.
like, the goal is to
But
have the
one
jhanas. Like,
will
he
make
visited
the
all his
other-
masters,
They
all
both
those Brahmins with
synergize
access,
nicely.
like all jhanas, and they're like sitting in like the 7 jhana all day long. But he thinks they're still clinging on to something. There's still a little bit of suffering, and there is some identification there. So that's another insight into impermanence. Like not even awareness or consciousness is permanent.
By temporarily transferring the attachments to worldly pleasures to the jhanas and the feeling of loving kindness, We can use it as catalysts to gain insights into the nature of mind and reality, and to dissolve hindrances, resistance, and contractions that get in the way of recognizing our true nature.
I went the dragon route, not the bird route.
I think the most direct way to recognize the nature of mind is to let go. Right? See, control is an illusion. So by trying to suppress or control your desires, it simply leads to more cravings, tensions, and more desires. So with this practice or any kind of spiritual practice, the goal is not to suppress anything, but simply observe and let go. And let nature unfold through the course of the least resistance.
Where you fight,
so the jhana is something we're talking about here occurs naturally as a byproduct of a delightful and relaxed mind. When a mind is joyful, it softens and relaxes, and tensions and cravings will be dissolved.
See, the Buddha did not speak a lot about one-pointed concentration to the breath because of the unnecessary tightening that can be created by forcing your mind to concentrate on a specific point of the meditation object, where you risk creating more tensions and cravings, and ultimately reinforces the meditator.
So the difference between relaxation type jhanas and the absorption type is that in the former, you let the jhanas occur naturally. In the latter, you use that one-pointedness, hardcore concentration power to cultivate a certain state, which can create more tensions and cravings that reinforces the subject-object split. You can be sitting in the absorption for hours and hours on end, and the moment you get off the cushion, you go right back into habitual tendencies. So the different access point to jhanas, but I think in general, jhana gains to relaxation, loving kindness is a lot quicker. It's also easier to become a jhana junkie through the absorption type because you're actually striving for something rather than relaxing and letting go. But which type of jhana you need depends on your genetic wiring, where you're on the path.
I had to start with concentration.
But either way,
now it's
jhanas
like
in themselves don't lead to liberation. They're simply the byproduct of the dissolution of conditioning's defilements until you reach the unconditioned. And we're going to go into details on how this happens later. But after non-duality, it's actually quite difficult to jhana. If everything's already balanced and holographic, there's nothing to expand or dissolve. So the paradox about the jhana is that if you're still experiencing the dissolution of the body expanding and contracting, it presupposes that the body is still solidified and you're still holding on to the belief of a physical body. If you're still experiencing the expansion of space and consciousness, it means you haven't seen through space and time as the artifacts of the mind, and you still take consciousness to have an inherent existence. Practice in jhanas can also cultivate energy to make radiance gains. When the body-mind starts to dissolve, it releases a tremendous amount of energy. And one can utilize this energy to penetrate even more solidity in a feedback loop of dissolution.
Oftentimes I would actually injure myself.
The feeling of love and kindness also stabilizes
like
the mind.
The force of tension coming undone in my spine.
When all the blockages are cleared out, it's simply this dynamic flow
my
of
body
the
would
universe
feel
fucking itself raw
like it
without
needs to move so
just like
intensely.
how if you max out vipassana and do nothing meditation, you end up the same fill in the blank. Relaxation and absorption jhanas ultimately serve the same end. But even in relaxation jhanas, there's still a very diffuse form of focus. You're attending to a feeling as a catalyst to collect and rest the mind before letting that go.
Instead of using the absorption of the mind to cultivate one-pointed concentration, the Buddha recommended a much softer and lighter approach, where instead of concentration, the words from the Pali Canon to describe mindfulness is a collected mind, a stabilized mind, a tranquil mind that is softer and more elastic and spacious.
And the catalyst, again, for this tranquil mind is joy and loving kindness. Now, the Buddha is a cheeky cunt. He realizes that the most efficient way to get people to see deep insights into the nature of mind is to have fun while you're doing it. When the mind is delighted doing practice, the progression is a lot more rapid. The mind spontaneously focuses and stabilizes itself. Awareness becomes much quicker. Now, it is a serious path, but you don't have to be serious to create this tightening around expectations.
I'm not a Buddhist, so I'm not advocating the TWIM technique as the king of all meditation practices. TWIM, like all spiritual practices, is simply a tool, a raft. When you use that raft to sail across the river, let it go and move on. To start the practice of TWIM, find a place to sit quietly with your spine straight and close your eyes.
He took one unlucky
Send warm wishes to yourself by repeating the following phrase
several
times while imagining a cute animal or a baby smiling at you in order to elicit the feeling of loving kindness. May I be happy. May I be free from suffering. May I be well. Feel the warm wishes in your heart and chest area and let it grow and expand. Unify your mind around this feeling in a collected and spacious way. This is your object of meditation. Then send the warm wishes to others by repeating the following phrases several times. May all beings be happy. May all beings be free from suffering. After a while, you'll notice that simply setting the intention for loving kindness is enough. There is no need to keep repeating the phrases, as more verbalization can create unwanted contractions. You simply abide in the warm feeling of loving kindness until distractions, hindrances, resistance, and tension arise. The Buddha statues are often depicted with a serene, peaceful smile. Put that smile on your face, in your heart, on your eyes, and in your mind. Use the 6R method to handle any distractions that may arise. The first R is recognize. The second R is release. The third R is relax. The fourth R is re-smile. The fifth R is return. The sixth R is repeat.
Cool.
1. Recognize that attention has drifted away
That's
from
nice.
the meditation object and is caught up in
All
hindrances
death
and distractions.
Returns
2.
to the center.
Release your
here.
attachment to the
Only to be
distracting thought
suppressed.
or sensation by simply letting it be
This world,
and withdrawing attention
all
from
it's
it.
missing
Let go of the grasping of
letting
your
go,
attention
letting go.
to the object of distraction. When you stop feeding the distraction with attention and energy, it will dissipate on its own. 3. Relax any remaining tightness and tension in the body, heart, and mind caused by the distraction. 4. Re-smile. Restore the small smile to your lips, your eyes, and your heart, and with it the happy feeling of loving kindness. 5. Return your attention back to the meditation object, the feeling of loving kindness. 6. Repeat this series of steps whenever the mind becomes distracted and loses its meditation object. To simplify things, using the first 4 R's may be enough. When in doubt, apply the law of drops. Don't resist or push. Soften and smile. Each time you run through the 4 R's, the mind becomes more purified, more unified, more equanimous. As you go deeper and deeper into more and more subtle layers of the mind to clean up the defilements hidden below consciousness. This is how you bring the unconscious to the conscious, the shadow to the light. The more defilements you dissolve, the more spacious awareness becomes. And this is how you enter into deeper jhanas, eventually reaching a cessation.
It's like what Jung says.
The recognized part is
And what
where
he
the
goes through
mindfulness
in the Red
is.
Book.
You want to use a unified and collected mind to do the recognition. You're not trying to contract your direction of attention to that which you're trying to recognize. Just notice where the contraction is, and then you release. There can be different spectrum of release too. You can go in there and apply like microscopic vipassana with as little effort as possible and release that contraction like that, almost like dissolving it. Or you can simply let the direction of attention or the contraction be there without interfering with it. And then the relaxation part, they say, is one of the most important part actually. You can see that even the act of releasing, whether that's recognizing and just let it be there or going in there and releasing it, there's still a tiny bit of effort in there. So then you just totally relax, like just go to your body, mind, and then whatever tension is there left when you're quote unquote done releasing, the direction of attention, the contraction in the thought or in the emotion, all that will start to sizzle away, including the effort to try to relax or release, including the effort to try to do twin will sizzle away. And the ultimate relaxation is you can't do any of that. It's just happening by itself.
What the hell is this?
Maybe as we talked about last week with the do nothing meditation.
Did I
So
miss
and then
this?
you smile
Or is this just like a staircase?
and then repeat. And each time you run through the 4 Rs, hopefully you are going deeper and deeper into the subconscious or even into the conditioning, and then releasing more subtle and subtler contractions and on and on and on.
Right,
The first noble
just to
truth,
make sure.
there is dukkha in life. Dukkha comes from craving. So they say that there's 3 types of craving. It could be sensual craving. And then there's being craving, which is for continued existence, for longevity, for just abide in a certain very positive state. And then there's even craving for non-being. I'm going to annihilate myself then. No more existence. But that's still craving. That's craving for non-being.
Like if you look at my stages of awakening, you know, I have like the ego state, the witness state, and then like the God consciousness, Brahman state, and then nothingness state. So the Brahman state you can easily be sucked into the craving for existence or some kind of a absolutism or eternally existing kind of framework. Yeah, and then you go into the nothingness phase, and there's craving for not existing there, craving for nothingness. So the Buddha learned that when he was like visiting the aesthetics, and he was like, oh, all those people are just craving for non-existence. The Buddha never taught no self, but he never taught the self either. It's very easy for like people who are
Wonder
into
if we could take
Buddhism
this
to
big
get
guy
stuck in the no self land. Craving is just a physical, experiential, tangential contraction, especially a contraction of the direction of attention. Why are you craving this beautiful woman on the street or hamburger out there? Because the direction of attention is contracted to the object in perception. Right, your attention is going there, right, and that's what's causing the craving. And the attention that's grasping the object points back to the subject, reinforces it, and that's how the subject-object duality is created. Why are you lost in thought? Because in that moment, the direction of attention are contracted over those thoughts. Craving,
This guy's made of guys.
what you're craving, all it matters is that you see through the direction of attention in the mind. Usually it's attention or contract somewhere in the head. Whether you're like contracting to an object out there or something here, or even holding onto a sensation of bliss or something like that. Your direction of attention is going to that sensation of bliss. So just to release that direction of attention, release that contraction in the direction of attention is pretty much the only thing you have to do. The only thing you have control over on this entire path is your attention. But even though ultimately when you even see through the direction of attention, it's just happening by itself. But that's the ultimate insight into non-dualship. But during the path, the only thing you can really do is quote unquote manipulate your direction of attention, or in twin letting go of the direction of attention. So like I said, you can have like 10 chocolate cakes without craving and be totally present without contracting your direction of attention. And after you eat a chocolate cake, there's no craving for that to exist. There's no craving for more chocolate cake. There's a lot of craving. If you do the Vipassana the way that most people do, or I did for a while, which is just going hardcore. Like instead of just relaxing while you do the Vipassana or let the body scan itself, and the Goenka even mentioned a lot of equanimity, but a lot of people overlook that. When they're scanning, they just try really hard to like either dissolve their entire body, craving for like the dissolution of the body, or craving to like hit every single sensation, dissolve every single sensation in infinite. Oh, I can't miss a spot. That becomes a kind of a craving. If you use craving to try to solve craving, you're going to lead to more craving. Right? Like I think they use an example of an alcoholic. Right? If you tell an alcoholic not to drink, if he's like trying really hard not to drink, there's like, which one is the real self? The one that tries to not drink, or the one that is craving to drink more? That's the question for you to contemplate. But even just like trying really hard to not drink, that's a kind of a craving. They haven't addressed the root problem.
AA people, like if you're still counting, then they're still craving.
As long as they get off the 12-step program, so many cases of them just like, just go off the rail. You're just suppressing your craving and then replacing that with another craving. Even like the witness stage, a lot of people get into mindfulness and then they will start witnessing their thoughts. But the witness, there's still some contraction there. And you watch the breath really hardcore, you're creating a witness to do that. So if your object of meditation is on a quality of experience, now instead of like just like a single point object, then it's easier for the mind to not focus on any specific object particularly, but just as a more like a unified sense of samatha. Because the feeling is pretty abstract, right? I think the cultivation of metta is very, very powerful because the juice of the metta, the feeling of loving kindness, using that to dissolve the craving is in some ways more effective than just using a very neutral space of awareness. So adding the compassion aspect, the self-love aspect of acceptance, it's like a steroid to solution. And then you let go of that, and then
Let it go
eventually
And
you
that's
realize,
dispassion.
yeah,
The dispassion.
dispassion. Yeah,
Everything.
compassion is dispassion. Yeah. So it's when you let go of even like bliss,
Exactly.
joy, compassion. That's when you can truly become compassionate. Someone asked Daniel Ingram what the best method is to deal with dark night of the soul. He's like, apply meta. So using Trim as a practice reduces the chance of you running into a severe dark night. And Trim is also one of those practices that you can do off the cushion very easily. In fact, you may continue to do the things you have cravings for and turn that into your practice. And this is what Tantra is all about, right? You're transforming the afflicted into wisdom. Somebody asked Osho, how do I stop smoking? And his reply was, keep on smoking, but just apply presence, because awareness itself is curative.
Oh, jeez.
And Trim is just a more systematic way to do that. Don't crush mind with the mind. Apply the 4 R's whenever tensions arise while you're doing the things that would trigger you or give you craving. I think that's one of the most direct ways to purify the mind right on the spot. Let the vast spaciousness of awareness or love dissolve whatever doesn't serve you and transform the unwholesome into the wholesome. This is the mechanism of integrating realization to every aspect of your life. Now let's run through the jhanas 1 through 8. First, you write that feeling of metta. Loving kindness, loving kindness. Once you start to get the feeling already, you just
There's
write it through
feathers
the
in the air.
jhanas.
Like so many
At
feathers.
first, you're going to feel the tingling
Where
sensation
did
of
all
loving
these birds
kindness
come
in the
from?
chest area, like a physical buzzing excitement. This is the first jhana, and the excitement is
Holy
replaced by joy
crap!
as you enter the second jhana. You enter the third jhana when loving kindness starts to spread across the entire body. The mind becomes quieter, more stabilized, and
I
tranquil
really
as
want
the body
like
begins to
Red Mane
dissolve.
Ogha.
The fourth jhana, you can experience a full body dissolution.
We could do like body.
Starting with the fifth jhana, infinite space,
I
the
don't
feeling
know
of
why
loving
that-
kindness
why
is
that caught my
dissipated,
head-
spread
mind.
across the space all around you.
He shoots
You might
arrows,
feel like
gravity
you've expanded
arrows.
to
We
the
don't
whole
have to
room and
fight it
beyond.
physically.
Now, this is when loving kindness and joy begins to be replaced by equanimity. So you move from one jhana to the next by resting the mind
that
there
didn't work.
until it becomes disenchanted. The mind will grow quote-unquote bored and dissatisfied when it realizes that whatever experience is having, and no matter how blissful or spacious,
Government
you
made
stay
them
here more
to spy on the
fabrications,
people.
and then you let go of some more. So the 5 elements are earth, water, fire, space, air, and consciousness. And this dissolution from solidity to liquid,
that was a
air,
good
and
job.
beyond is exactly the progression of the jhanas.
This thing has a large amount of HP. It's like the tree sentinel times 1 trillion.
If there are no distractions, the feeling of loving kindness will grow and expand to your entire body as it dissolves into this radiance. This is the 4th jhana. Let this energy grow and expand to encompass the space around your body.
No.
Then send and expand the feeling of loving kindness in all 6 directions, from your head and around the body, to encompass the whole universe without any boundaries or separations.
Blade.
This will bring you to the 5th jhana of infinite space. You may feel like you are floating and levitating. Use the 6th R
Or like you're gonna
method
throw
to
up.
handle any distractions that arise. Otherwise, continue to expand the sphere of loving kindness. The 6th jhana occurs when the expansion is maxed out, so the attention is shifted
can't go that
to the
far.
content that is arising and passing away within this infinite
Not
field.
yet.
You enter the 7th jhana of nothingness.
Well, I'm pretty sure
when the
you're
space and
supposed
its
to kill
content
them
that
with
is
a pot.
arising and
I
passing
just don't
away
remember which one.
slows down
Oh.
to become one
So like,
seamless
you're
nothing.
not supposed to just like
You will
throw
receive
yourself
the
at them?
insight that awareness is not different from
Beat them to
sensation.
death slowly?
Form is no different than emptiness. The world is Brahman. Both consciousness and its content are the fabrications.
I thought I was
mind.
gonna get some easy runes here, to be honest.
Remain in the evenness of this field of nothingness until you reach max effort equanimity. Use the 6R method whenever hindrances arise. You enter the 8th
It, like
jhana,
practically one-shots
neither
them?
perception nor
Oh,
non-perception.
that's so underwhelming.
when
I think
even
I'll just kill him the
equanimity
old-fashioned
and
way.
nothingness is let go of. This is where even awareness
doable.
and perceptions start to dissolve, and you reach a state that is neither conscious nor not conscious, neither dreaming nor awake.
Jump.
When you practice entering the 8th jhana, you rewire the brain into accepting paradoxes by letting go of dualistic thinking as neither this nor that. It's important to
This guy
keep
is so
letting go
doable.
of
I don't
any
even have like a
sense of
quarter of my
direction of
skidoo tree
attention.
fragments.
Do not pay attention to anything. There is nothing you can do here. Nowhere to go. Nothing to become. Let go of even letting go until you reach Nirodha, the cessation of feeling, perception, and consciousness.
As you go deep into the jhana, you letting go of more and more fabrication, right?
I
Like,
can
we use the
some,
word
yeah.
fabrication a lot, right?
Ow.
That's another way to see through emptiness, is how everything is fabricated. Emptiness just means everything is constructed. So when you're in like the first jhana, there's still a lot of fabrication. In the nothingness phase, it's like there's very little fabrication. Eighth jhana, neither perception or non-perception, is like even the
Oh, we
fabrication
stopped
of
quick.
perception itself or consciousness itself starting to break down.
Oh.
You're neither perceiving nor not perceiving. You're neither aware nor not aware. And then as you write that even more, you go
I've
into
knocked
cessation.
him over.
Well, the cessation is a state where there
I've
is
knocked
no
him over.
fabrication. When you don't have fabrication, you don't even have consciousness. Because then that's also when you start to get the insight that even consciousness awareness
He's
is
probably going to be
conditioned.
asleep
Not
for a
even
while,
awareness
based
of
on
consciousness
how
is
like
permanent.
large he is.
Now the seventh jhana of nothingness is the silence,
forever.
pure awareness. But there's still an object there, right? Which is nothingness, which means that the subject is still present because one cannot exist without the other. And you get the insight that subject and object dependent on each other are co-arising, and that the conditionality that is attention is what's holding them
Did I
together.
win?
One of the key hallmark of the eighth jhana, neither perception or non-perception,
No,
it's
he's
kind of
up.
like a physical TV screen that's about to be shut off.
Fair
But you can
enough.
sense them fitting in and
He
out
took
of
a good
existence
nap.
as you continue to let go and unhook the tiny links of dependent origination and the subtlest attention that's holding your reality together. This part of the process
It
can
makes
feel like
sense
you're
that
dying,
he's
right? There's nothing you can do here.
immune
Reality
to
will let go of
the
you
frostbite,
when you stop holding on to
since
existence
he's
or non-existence.
made out of
then you
fire.
reach a cessation. Now, I emphasized way too much on cessations before. It's the Olympic gold medal of meditation, sure, but it's just a tool. You can use any other tool to see insight into impermanence, not self, and emptiness. See, you
Did
want
I
to
break
rewire
this
the
leg?
brain almost at the hardware level to perceive experientially that time, space, and consciousness are not the container or the source of cosmic conditionings, but they themselves are part of the webs of conditionality, therefore empty of inherent existence. So what is the ground of reality? There is none. So when you come out of cessation, you see that everything you defabricate start to come back around. Okay, perceptions start to come back, sensations come back, consciousness comes back. Right, and then all those fabrications start to come back. Right. So the unconditioned state is really no different than the conditioned state. Don't interfere with this conditionality. You don't create more condition around the webs of conditionality of the universe. That's another insight, is that there's no agency to control it outside of this webs of cause and condition. You can't step outside of it. The only thing you can do is disappear into it, or just be okay with it. That's another way to put it. So there is no like unconditioned per se that exists outside of the matrix in this transcendental realm behind the curtain. Because if there is still a duality between reflection and mirror, right? This is it. Nirvana is samsara. The absolute is the relative. The unmanifested is the manifested. So the goal is to be in the world, but not out the world. So at first you realize the infinite space of awareness and watch how thoughts, sensations, bodies, and the whole world are arising in and out of it. This is the realization of I amness, or unbounded consciousness, or pure presence, or oneness, but that's not self yet. Then you realize that because the content is empty, this awareness is also empty because the two are never separated from each other and they codependent arise. This is the insight into anatta. Seeing to the emptiness of presence just makes everything more vibrant and panoramic. Not only that everything is consciousness, but that there is no consciousness per se besides the manifestation of whatever it is that is heard, seen, sensed,
leg
touched,
is-
cognized, and smelled. Not only is there no thinker, no hearer, no seer, no doer, in thinking just thoughts, in hearing just sounds, in the seeing just forms, shapes, and colors. We're infinite reflections without a source or a mirror. Oh, beautiful. You can say that source is appearance. Dancing without background or foreground, movement or non-movement, direction or non-direction. In Chinese, nirvana means absolute rest, right? So it feels like you're completely still at all times. Yet everything is dynamic as fuck, right? You've never gone anywhere. Yet the whole universe is infinite shape.
11,000
Now, without the
souls.
emptiness inside, it's very easy to cling on to
I got a
awareness as if
deflecting
itself,
hard tier in a
or verify
first
yourself into a
stage.
creator and develop a God complex. Now, one way to lock in this insight experientially
I
in
feel
the
like I
context of
control it a
Twin
little bit.
is to defabricate and refabricate the mind over and over again
until the rising and passing happen simultaneously, until you deconstruct the nature of all experiences from the most divine to the most mundane and see exactly how they're constructed in exactly the same way.
Sounds like a
So the natural state is the unfabricated fabrication. But if everything is a fabrication, then nothing
used
is.
for crafting
So what they call the
items.
unfabricated state
It's
of
the last thing I
Nibbana
would've
is simply
ever
experiencing the
suspected.
fabrication that is this reality in its pure state without any identification, grasping, resistance, obscurations, or
It's a
ignorance.
spontaneous
Because the ignorance about the nature of mind or reality being empty is what solidifies things into categories and separations that creates clinging and suffering. Whether that's concepts or language, or the solidification of a body or a self, or the identification to consciousness, it's all the same thing. So the last four jhanas are called the formless jhanas because they're a less solidified state than the first four jhanas. And psychedelic experiences too. The reason why walls are breathing and things are morphing and penetrating each other is because in a psychedelic experience, it's a less fabricated and less rarefied state than when you're quote unquote sober. Once you start to remove the lenses of perception that solidify things, either through meditation, psychedelics, or self-inquiry, things start to become more psychedelics. Everything started expanding, right? But if you're a jhana junkie or trapped in psychedelic experiences, instead of just letting the conditionings dissolve on their own, you can run into the trouble of piling on more conditionings. But regardless, everything is still the construction of your brain. But don't get stuck on a materialistic paradigm of quote-unquote everything's the neurons, because the brain also doesn't exist apart from the interconnectedness with everything else. In fact, don't get stuck on any paradigm. The middle way transcends all extremities, right? The Buddha calls that the right view. And you cannot possibly recognize the middle way if you don't have an anatta realization, because the dualistic mind or the center is always going to cling on to an extremity, even if it's very subtle, even if you don't recognize it. In the sutra, they mention four extremes that are dropped with the anatta realization. You are this or that. You drop that. You are not this or that. You drop that. You are neither this nor that. You are both this and that. You drop that. Shut the fuck up, let all that go, and just relax and just be.
Emptiness is form. Like they're one and the same thing. It's not like emptiness vibrates into form or like form disappears or dissolves into emptiness. There are phases like that. You feel like awareness is shapeshifting into the world. But even that is an illusion actually. Because if that's still happening, or even like the rising and passing away of sensation into empty space and coming back online or whatever, there's still some of a process in there. But when you completely collapse time, everything is just happening spontaneously. Like boom, that's it. And then when you turn your head, boom, a new feel. Like there's no proof that it's the same awareness you're perceiving through the world right now as 5 minutes ago. Or like this thing called, what is the phase before your grandparents were born? There's no phase before your parents were born. This is the phase. This is the only phase right here, right? A sensation is arising right now because of the webs of conditionality, just like the rainbow. Awareness itself is just another rainbow. The objects are rainbow. Awareness is not like a perceiving of the rainbow or the source of the rainbow. But you can't pinpoint one thing and say this is causing that. That's why you shouldn't look at dependent origination as like a linear fashion of cause and effect. Because at the truly non-dual state, the cause and effect becomes one. The cause is the effect. When the right conditionality arises, this arises. When the right conditionality ceases, that ceases. But that's not really a linear process of like A causing B causing C. Sure, on the more relative level of cause and effect, there can still exist there. But at the ultimate non-dual perspective, the conditionality really is not something in time. So understanding dependent origination, love, emptiness, and the middle way, it's all the same insight. Things come into existence only through conditionalities and interconnectedness. Then nothing stands alone, and nothing has inherent existence apart from this infinite webs of co-creation. It's like this intricate net where every point is connected to every other point in the universe and it's connected to itself. Now this is the biggest mindfuck. The collapse is the biggest duality there is between existence and non-existence. What dependent originates never arose in the first place. Nothing's truly rising, nothing's abiding, and nothing's ceasing either. Well, the holograms are interpenetrating, yet nothing's touching each other. So the more accurate way to describe dependent origination is codependent non-arising. Everything in the virtual reality world is empty. Right? It's all constructed, space, time, distance, whatever.
Yet,
but there is an experience.
I know like
nothing's
the starting of that
everything
feeling.
in experience is like a rainbow.
Starting
it's there,
to touch
but not
itself.
there. But where is this rainbow? When the right conditionality arises, boom, there's a rainbow. There's consciousness.
No distance between.
In the next quote-unquote frame of experience, it's a whole new set of conditionalities that are neither different nor the same as the previous ones, erasing the distinction between separateness and oneness, between continuity and discontinuity.
See, there is no consciousness without the object of consciousness and vice versa. Quantum physics starting to prove what the Buddha has been talking about for thousands of years with the observer's effect, where things come into existence only through the process of observation and interaction. Otherwise, things exist only in a state of indeterminacy. Yet when all those potentialities come into contact, boom, reality appears. But what is the so-called quote-unquote reality? It's just more waves of potentialities. So it's rainbows all the way down. Is it particle or wave? Seanless cat is both a neither dead nor alive. In other words, quantum entanglement. A particle on this side of the universe has an effect on a particle on the other side of the universe simultaneously without touching each other. Einstein is like, whoa, that's fucking spooky. But that's actually your direct experience when you reach the deepest part of non-duality, which is non-locality. The Buddha calls himself the Tathagata,
not of like
beyond coming and going.
infinite
As you can see that there is no thing here.
communication.
You are therefore located neither in the world of this, nor in the world of that, nor in
Even
any
my friend
place
was
between
telling
the
me a
two,
story
in this
about how
lowly
when he
thin of
was a
suffering.
kid,
And because the Tathagata doesn't have a true nature or substance, the world also doesn't have an essence. So there's
when
nothing to
his
cling on to.
grandfather died, he was like 3, and he immediately started consoling his mother
Consciousness is
before
like
they even
fire.
knew.
For fire to occur in this precise moment, you need the intention of setting something on fire. The contact between the sense organ and the fire. The striking between the matchstick and the matchbox. When all these conditionalities occurs, the experience of fire occurs. The sound of the drum arisen based on the wood, the stick, and the hide, the sound wave, the ear, and the brain, and the person's effort to make that sound. But where is that sound exactly? The sound of the drum does not dwell in the wood, neither does it dwell in the hide, nor in the stick, nor in the person, nor in the world. But because of these conditionality, there is an experience of quote-unquote sound, yet this sound is completely empty. It has no coming, no going, and no ceasing, and no one to make it arise. And you can apply this to every single sensation and experience in your whole life. Whatever you're upset about will never arisen in the first place. You're still suffering after awakening. You haven't fully grasped the dependent origination and emptiness. Whether you're clinging onto a separate self or oneness or awareness, it's all the same thing. You can't put your head anywhere. Another way to describe the non-arising insight is that when you try to find that imaginary point in which something goes from an existence to non-existence, you cannot locate it. Now this insight becomes very clear experientially when the distinction between awareness and sensations, or between consciousness and its content collapses. And if there is no distinction between background and foreground, then where are sensations arising from? Where can it abide in, and where can it go? Now the experience of non-arising can also be called the deathless or the unborn. Now, there are actually two ways to experience the unborn and deathless. The first is awareness, being some kind of eternal substrate that is unborn and deathless. Consciousness, being an all-pervasive, unchanging source that gives rise to change. There's still a view in extremity, a craving for being or existence. Now, as you wake up out of oneness, you can experience the second kind of deathless, which is the non-arising insight I've been talking about. So you can look at this path as having two major shifts. One is the realization of awareness, and then the realization of emptiness.
Another ghost line dragon.
And then you empty out emptiness by seeing that even emptiness itself is also empty.
This one seems even tougher than the last one.
You can receive
somehow.
insights into dependent origination and emptiness just by practicing the 6 R's. Because once you let go of any kind of tightening or contractions in
Probably not as
experience,
bad as the
you're letting go of
ones.
more conditionalities. And you
The
apply the 6
veils.
R's, let go of more, until each moment is completely devoid of any substance. And your moment-to-moment experience feels like a permanent cessation merging with infinite consciousness. See, every moment consciousness arises and then collapses on itself out of the infinite reflections of all the Buddhas, being and non-being in all realms. Just like how all the parts of this reality is performing their best symphonies to make this moment an absolute perfection, all past and future lives across all multiverses are penetrating each other, looping from the Big Bang to the Big Crunch to make this moment shimmering with luminosity, that which has no beginning, no middle, and no end. Having realized the 3 divisions of time to be the same, in a single moment you see them as indivisible. Eons are condensed into an instant, and an instant opens up into the eons. Billions of worlds fit into one grain of sand. The one is transformed to the many, and the many is transformed to the one. When I came across like your stages of enlightenment thing, what are the levels of enlightenment? There are no levels of enlightenment, but there are levels of dreaming. And every level has its own layer of bondage, which you progressively shed as you move towards the center. On the outer level of dreaming, you are a person in the body. looking outside from the body into the physical world and relating to other persons. You are a slave of society. On a deeper level of dreaming, you are a soul occupying the body and relate to other souls on an energetic level. You are a slave of your own emotional energy. On a deeper still level of dreaming, you are consciousness, God, a being of pure compassion and unconditional love. You are everything and everyone, the deepest form of love. You are a slave of love. On the deepest level of dreaming, you are Brahman, the totality of all existence, infinity beyond manifest. You are truly nothing, eternity, the deepest form of peace. You are a slave to death. When all dreaming ceases, you are just a hairless monkey walking on a ball of rock, eating, pooping, living and not dreaming, and imagining things that are not there. You are now free. Each level of the dream has its own amount of fun and beauty, and very few people go all the way, because each level is covered by its own layer of suffering. Embodiment of unconditional love is extremely fun and rewarding. Being mentally dead while your body is alive is very peaceful, very restful, very blissful. That's Buddhahood. When you're dreaming on the outer layers, the inner layers are there too. They're just in your unconscious. As you go from outer layers towards the center, the dreaming becomes more and more subtle. You become progressively more free. The last level, the Brahmanic level, is the most subtle. It has almost no dreaming at all. Most people who are awake have awakened from one level of dreaming into a deeper level of dreaming. So their dreaming became a little bit more lucid. It's all a dream, as they say. Enlightenment is not awakening into your dream. It is awakening from your dream entirely. When all the dreaming ceases and the mind doesn't dream anymore. Yeah, I thought it was brilliant.
Thank you. It's good to see your face.
Yeah.
Finally, we have a long-form conversation.
I discovered your blog. I don't know how I discovered it, but like...
Cora probably.
Yeah, Cora. Okay, so in this podcast, we're going to be talking about the stages of enlightenment, the progression from awakening to liberation, the courage to be ordinary, whether or not you can spot an enlightened being, the collapsing of the duality between nirvana and samsara or any duality, shadow work versus meditation or awareness work, the difference between mind and brain, attention versus awareness, the role of psychedelics on the spiritual path, and both me and Artem's experiences with them before and after self-realization, and why psychedelics has minimal to almost no effect on an awakened mind. Weightlifting advice and how I perceive lifting now versus before the journey, waking up even out of oneness, finding the perfect spiritual practice for you, the benefits of eye gazing as a spiritual practice, and why people feel more awkward staring into each other's eyes in silence than having sex with strangers, and the topic of sex. Before we go on, I just want to address a question someone asked in Artem's version of the podcast and give a little commentary, which you can find in the description box. It's a much longer version. But he asked, what's the difference between the outer level of dreaming, right? Being a person in a body relating to other people in the world, that's the first stage, versus when all the dreaming ceases, and you're just a hairless ape roaming on the planet. Well, first of all, your suffering level goes way, way down. And second of all, before enlightenment, there is the mountain. During enlightenment, there is no more mountain. And after enlightenment, there's a mountain again. That's one of the most famous sayings in Zen. And this mountain is now shimmering with luminosity as it cognizes itself. You become intimate with a million things with zero distance, because you're no longer perceiving the world through the subject-object split. There is no separate observer in here behind the eyes that's perceiving the mountains out there. The observer, the observed, and the process of observation becomes one seamless whole, or you can say they codependently arise. One cannot exist without the other. Now in the seen, only the seen. In the heard, only the heard. In thinking, only thoughts. No thinker. There's no separate quote-unquote thing here that's perceiving the raw sensory data of perception itself, which is just colors, shapes, form, and etc. Now this is a distinct and a deeper stage than the nothingness and everything phase. We're still rareifying consciousness to have inherent existence, where you look at awareness as some kind of a transcendental substrate that's apart from sight, sound, taste, smell, thoughts, and sensations, without realizing that nirvana is samsara. See, everything you assume to be the container of experience, like space, time, and consciousness, are not the ground or the source of cause and effects, but they themselves are part of the cause and conditionings, just like everything else, therefore impermanent. But of course, at the end, even dependent origination is empty. This is when you empty out even emptiness. See, transcending cause and effect doesn't mean that you negate cause and effect and karmas on the conventional level, because the conventional is the absolute. See, that's the beautiful paradox right there. You want your view to be vaster than the sky, but your attention to actions and their results are as fine as a grain of sand. So the more boundless you become, the more you're able to draw boundaries, right, without getting triggered. The more you realize not self, the more you're able to love yourself. The more you realize there's neither self nor others, the more intimate your relationships become. So don't reify the formulas, and don't reify the material or the physical world either, right? Both are extreme views. The middle way transcends but can include all the views, right? A realization goes beyond all ontological views or conceptual descriptions of reality. Go beyond existence and non-existence, spiritual or material. When I say reification, what I mean is making things solid by wrongfully viewing them as having an essence. So the key is to see through to the lack of inherent existence in all phenomenons, and how everything, from the most divine to the most mundane, are dependently arisen without grasping onto them or negating them. A lot of people get into spirituality to start negating the convention of self and become a nihilist or this radical non-dualist or a spiritual Kant by making statements like, "Oh, there's nobody here, there's nothing to do," right? The convention of self arises when the right conditionality arises and ceases when conditionality ceases. That's it. It's just part of nature's impersonal processes, empty of any intrinsic nature. No need to solidify no self, just the same way that you don't want to kill the self, see? No need to cling on to awareness. Don't be an eternalist by identifying with God consciousness. No need to get rid of consciousness either. Enjoy the vast spaciousness without clinging onto it or making it into a thing. Some radical non-dualists will say things like, "Oh, there's no such thing as consciousness." Again, an extreme view. Every instant, consciousness arises and collapses onto itself simultaneously through the right causes and conditions. And this consciousness is also co-arising with reality. There cannot be a consciousness without the object in consciousness and vice versa. So craving for non-being is no different than craving for being. Realization merges being and non-being and simultaneously transcends them. See, the moment you skew your view to an extremity is the moment you start grasping, and that's the source of all suffering. So don't be an extremist. You might think that an extremist is someone like a suicide bomber, but an awakened mind is always going to be an extremist in one way or another without you even realizing it, because the dualistic mind cannot truly grasp the middle way. Without natural realization, the mind is always going to want to grasp onto something and make it substantial, whether that's grasping onto no-fap or veganism or the existence of a physical reality or money, power or God consciousness or emptiness. It's all the same thing. Guess what? You can also grasp onto non-grasping or make no view into a view. Chikikan's mind is. So the goal is not just to reason yourself into no view. Goal isn't to come up with any kind of conclusion at the conceptual level. It's to let go of grasping. Emotionally, physically, viscerally, and experientially. Go beyond the extremes of solipsism, materialism, idealism, panpsychism, or even non-dualism.
I like talking about spirituality using ordinary language.
Yeah, I agree. I remember when I read that, there was still a lot of like Brahman God consciousness stuff in my field of experience. Not like it's gone. I mean, it's just what it is.
Yes, of course, it's always.
Yeah, but then like when you're still deconditioning the self, there's a lot of projection for the rest of the conditioning to cling onto and be like, okay, this Brahma, whatever, is a thing. You verify it, and then there's still a little bit clinging in there. There's still a separation between you and Brahman or you and God. And what I say is that when you realize something, it's like you ingest like a piece of fruit or something. You become you. So it's like an eyeball that cannot see. So once you realize something, it disappears. So you don't need to call it God. I think you said it's like love. It's like when wind is like itself, blowing itself. It doesn't feel itself, and that's unconditional love. It's only something solid in the center that's still resisting that feels. And then when I read that, I was like, it dissolved a lot of spiritual conditions. Yeah.
Beautiful.
So thank you, Arden, for like having such a profound and direct pointer. Yeah.
Thank you, my friend. Yes, you are actually precisely right. Everything that is sufficiently integrated disappears. So even sufficiently integrated unconditional love disappears as a kind of a very prominent part of experience, and a sufficiently integrated peace or equanimity, And you can also notice in other people that are undergoing the transformation is that for as long as it hasn't been sufficiently integrated, there is a tendency to boast about it, to kind of present yourself as. So people present themselves as unconditional loving, unconsciously, of course, or they present themselves as equanimous. There's a tendency to kind of to make it important so that other people see you as loving or equanimous or realized, and all of this actually disappears in complete enlightenment.
Yeah, I can relate to that. Back then, when I was still trying to be perceived as somebody who's realized, but then once I go through even more unfoldment or more dropping away of conditioning, there's absolutely no need to be recognized as anything.
Yes.
But it doesn't mean that you can't talk about it, that you can't like put yourself out there. But there's no trick.
1 second, I got a call. Yo, what's up, bro? How you doing? Like, be able to think about what's going on. You don't want you want to keep your sales pitches like quick and concise so that the person doesn't like begin to doubt, and you also don't want to give them any kind of like, you don't even want to have like sentence structure that could cause them to start to create doubts. Like, you like I was taught like to like phrase everything in a way that does not conduct a conversation in a direction in which a person might start to be like, oh, maybe I could put off the job for something later, or I could think about it, or anything like that. I get to watch like every little intonation inside of a sentence to make sure it was the most direct, concise attack on their psyche. Maybe. Yeah. It is good to have control, yeah. I've had some good experiences where, like, when you're cold calling, like, where people are just, like, willing to, like, com- not just willing to give you your money, but willing to conversate. And, like, if you're willing to conversate with them, then you can actually make opportunities out of that. So you don't, sometimes being too pushy is also a problem. Like, you have to be able to strike a balance and know your audience. Like, there were sales that we made that, probably wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for us being willing to like have the homeowners walk us through what they were doing at their places, and what kind of jobs they wanted. Like, if it wasn't for that, I don't think that we would have scored some of those sales. So you can't always try and take charge. You really have to understand that it's always a dance of ice and fire, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's give and take constantly. Absolutely. If you push too hard, then people, they recognize that, and then they will shut up. They'll shut themselves off immediately, because then if you have a reason to be pushing too hard, then your product, likely either you don't believe in your product enough, or your product isn't it. So you have to have such a level of confidence that you don't need to, like, push completely, really. If the goal would be to let go completely, because the more you cling on to it, the more, because people can tell, right? The people can tell when you're trying to like pull on them, and even my manager, like, started to realize that she would like be more successful when she was a little bit more passive, because even like she was taught by her higher ups to like to be more like clingy, to try and pull on individuals. And I was like, instead of trying to pull on the individual as much, why don't you try and like open up a space around the individual for them to come to ideas where that fit, where we fit in, like come to conclusions where we can help them, instead of like trying to push them in a specific direction. Let's try and open their minds to what's going on. And that approach definitely ended up working better, because yeah, you can, sometimes you'll have like one product that you want to sell somebody and they're really like not into it, but if you are just like, if you're so attached to it, if you have any attachments to anything, then you're not going to be able to just snap, switch products, switch whatever it is, constantly meet the needs of whoever it is that you are selling to. You have to let go completely. No, I don't think so. I don't think you need to push anyone. I think that by letting go, you literally become a black hole, and then everything gets sucked inside. Sure. Right. I agree with you. Yeah. Right. Right. Nah, nah, nah. I get that. That makes sense to me, right? And I think like it coalesces too with letting go. It's just you want to be able to do that in the most effortless fashion possible, as naturally as possible, because the more natural you are, the more that you will be able to open up the person that you are selling to. Um, like what you're saying, yeah, is perfectly valid. It's like you want you want them to hear you out, right? And if you can come with like if you come to them with literally no projection, no energy, then they're not gonna immediately you're gonna catch them off guard, you know? You're gonna catch them off guard when you come as a salesman. If you come with no projection, nothing, no aura, nothing, then they're the ones who are gonna get caught off guard. And that's something, you know? It's a skill to have, because then you can open up conversations with people who would have never thought that they would have wanted some kind of product, and then they end up going for it. They're like, damn. Word. Right. You gotta just let it like just spill all out. Like the most you just like allow everything to 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 be as it is, to construct itself. Because yeah, reality is always like co-creating itself. One piece stimulates another piece to react one way, and then it just keeps going back and forth, and you want to allow that to happen, because that and observe that exchange, and through observing that exchange you'll be able to develop the information that you need to make a pitch, figure out what's going on. I hear the reggae in the background. Word. Real? It didn't. But it didn't hit. Dude, you'd be surprised how quickly I ran through 9 grams of ketamine. I'm not finished, but... Two-thirds, probably. However... Pardon? It happens, but also, like, my like, day-to-day state, like, if I just close my eyes, it's just, like, fractal almost. So, like, I feel like I properly upgraded my brain the way I wanted to. I set out to, like, sizzle the back of my eyelids a little bit for a little extra luminosity, and, it seems to have worked out pretty well. Too late. I've already got one. Just 4 this time. It's a significantly smaller amount. And I will be holding it on to myself. And this time I also got some more robo tablets, because you know what I realized is that at first what I was doing was I was using the K to like offset the DXM withdrawal, and then in that I was not like making the most of like not my own power, not of the power of the substances with me, because it's really all my power. I had to like kind of realize that, and then I just like changed the setting that I was using it in to less cover up the effects of withdrawal and more to expand the mind and allow myself to build healthier habits as like a motivational push to like get things tidied up, drink more water, eat better food, go outside, get things going. And then I started to have like really profound shifts, and then I was like, okay, I see how I can use the medicine properly. And I kept going with that strat. We'll see how that goes. So far, so good. It's a lot of words. Yo, that's so real, bro. Usually, I'm on the other side. Yeah, it'd be like that. That's all good, man. No worries at all. It was a really nice experience, to be honest, because, like, dude, with K, being able to just, like, do it whenever is, like, I could, like, perpetually unbrainwash myself. Like, I don't know if you have found this power as well, but, like, the second, like, you start to have tension in your body, if you make the intention to dissolve the tension in your body, and then you just do a little bit of ketamine, then you can just dissolve the tension in your body. And then you just can continually do this over and over again until there's like no tension left in your body at all. And then from there, like a whole new thing appears. Like it's like you turn it inside out, and then like all of your energy is flowing like freely in like boundless space. And then from there there's even more. It's like how well can you ride the cosmic serpent into the infinite void, and then because the longer you can stay in it, the longer you can stay in the flow state, really, and it's a powerful tool. It's a powerful tool. Absolutely. Right. Absolutely. Yes. Indeed. Yes. Correct. Well aware of that fact. But I'm still not in that. I'm not in that range yet. As far as I know. So I'm not worried. Yeah, it would be futile to worry about it, and right now I can like literally like evaporate pain from my body. Like if I'm having like acid reflux, I can literally just like de-acid reflux myself. Like I just focus on my esophagus, and like I can control the muscles in my esophagus to push like the acid back down into my stomach. I've attained like such a intense awareness of like all of the contractions in my body that it's almost like I can keep myself in a state of almost complete painlessness and total awareness constantly. Very fun. I get a lot done. I know it's not something that I'll be able to stay in forever and there'll be a crash, but this is a lot of healing to get done. Yeah, well, last night I didn't sleep, but I still went to class today. I still participated. So I would say that I'm not sleeping to a point where it's interfering with real life yet. But if it does get to that point, then yeah, I'm just gonna have to worry about sleep. But right right now, alright. I had my first. Because I had to redo the whole semester because they don't let you progress a semester unless you have a GPA over 2.5. And you literally cannot get a GPA over 2.5 by acing all of your midterms and exams. It's just not enough. You have to do assignments. And I was like, okay, whatever. We run these back. And so I was doing my class today, and it was really cool because we were learning like how to think, like, because in behavioral psychology, like one of like the most important parts about it is like the objectification of it, you know, like the fact that we're trying to separate it from mentalistic processes. So it's not about like what you think, feel, or see. It's not like the qualitative, angry, sad things that we can't like properly define or quantify. It's all about like the definable things. That was also like really insightful because it was like it's so easy for our brains to get caught up in the stories it tells ourselves, like all the different kinds of like emotional stories that we make up around events that happen, but you can just like reconstruct those and you'll have a completely different response. I mean popcorn chicken. Yeah, bro. Walmart. They got this great value, 1.2 kilograms. It's half chicken fries, half popcorn chicken, and it's like $6. And I'm like, bro, that's a lot of chicken for $6. Walmart. That's what I was saying. So I was like, I'm just gonna get like this chicken. It may not be the healthiest, but dang, it's pretty good meat protein to dollar ratio. What are you doing right now? Oh, nice. I haven't finished my popcorn chicken. I'm missing my family this weekend, which is hopefully going to be really good. Because, my brother hasn't been doing well. But I told my mom about my successes with ketamine, and I was like, yo, this shit would probably work on my brother. And she was like, say less. Yeah, but you have to think about it, bro. This is like, they prescribe this shit now, you know? Right? Like, you can just... And that's what I was saying. I also want to, like, I want my mom to, like, try it. Because I think she would also, like, she'd be, like... I think she'd understand the way that it allows you to step outside of yourself. And I think that my brother's main issue is that he can't step outside of himself, and thus he is constantly trapped inside of like this hell of his own creation, and this hell of his own creation leads him to lash out against a bunch of individuals. So if he could, like, just for once step outside of it and realize that this little prison box that he's created for himself is not like the end all be all of the world, and let go of it, then he'd literally be like free to soar. And he just, nothing does that better than an aesthetic. Like, I can't think of anything in life that performs that task better than an aesthetic. And just knowing that you can, right? Because it's two things. Because there's one thing to anesthetize yourself, and then there's two things. Because some people will get it immediately. They'll just like because like people will come out of anesthesia after surgery, like in like non-duality and things like that, like without state of subject-object relationship anymore, feeling like they're one with everything. So it just happens for some people, but there is also for most people, you have to kind of like know or like be told that it's possible. You know, it's possible to be able to let go of that. It's possible to be able to like heal and to get to a better state of mind. Which I think my brother doesn't believe he's capable of. He doesn't really think that he can like that he can experience joy, happiness the way that he used to. And to be able to give him the experience where he's able to feel joy, happiness, would be like probably the most rewarding thing that we could do for him right now. And I hope that things work out, and I feel they will. Yo, you know Jamie XX? I'll send you a Banger House album real quick. It's like, I can't hear you right now. Oh, wait. Oh, I just connected my speaker by accident. Wait, don't do that. Don't do that. Speaker. Okay, I can hear you again.
Oh, that's right.
What were you saying? Oh. You made fries? Hand cut? That's beautiful. That's some good shit, man.
I like the hand cut
Dude, it's special. Hand cut fries is special. You can't even put it into words. Veggie straws? Veggie straws?
No. It's like it's a type of chip. It's like it almost looks like a salmon. It's really good.
A Taki? A Taki? Okay, the Frito. Pardon? Yellow. I know like the Rolos, like the little barbecue rings. Okay, I have no idea what you're talking about, to be honest. I'm sending you an album. You're gonna love it. You're gonna be like, this shit is fire as fuck. And you're gonna wanna play it around hot women. Real shit. These because it's like a house album, but it's got like enough detail to keep me like super engaged.
Alright. Check it out, bro.
Absolutely.
Nice. The bro? Alright, bro.
You can head up. All right, brother. It was nice talking to you, bro.
Talking to you too.
But that was half an hour already, man. That was a long time. Time flies. Alright, peace, bro. Have a wonderful night. Oh, okay, we're back. Phone call completed. You guys want to hear that sick album that we were talking about? It's so good. I want to listen to it now.
Welcome to all tech things.
Just because it's just so good. Find me my telephone. My main telephone. Where's my webcam at? There's my webcam at. I had it glued to my laptop before. That was pretty sick. It worked really well, except that duct tape is not permanent. Which is good, because if it was permanent, then I would have never gotten my webcam off. So everything worked exactly the way that it should have, and everything is perfect. Woo! So that's like you feel the ball drop, like just let go into the flow. It feels like being dropped on a roller coaster. Let me re-pull up my stream before thing gets too trippy. There we go. Oh, what the hell was we doing before we came here? Oh yeah, there's a dragon inside of the lake. And I don't have any weapon equipped. I think I wanted my twin axes. These guys. I'm about to roll off the cliff! We're good. I think we're better off over here. Just follow the site of our old runes. I have no idea what my webcam is like. It's on my blanket right now, so it's gonna be so a little bit everywhere. But that is so okay. Hello everyone, it's your boy Era. You're telling me that your name is now Era? Era. A great katana. Alright, Ghost Flame Dragon. I fear you not. You got a swollen ankle, you stumble like an old fool. Oh Hey, consider it like a boon of wisdom. You know, people are like, if you have a gray hair, you're like wise and stuff. It's like that, except this time, instead of a gray hair, it's a swollen ankle. Okay, I think we so got this. I don't even know what he's about to do. I think I was wise to start walking away. I was so wise to start walking away. I'm getting the hang of it. I know when suspicious stuff is happening. I didn't even today try to dodge. I did not press the space bar. Is this true? Still got the 1,000 damage in with the bolt, blink bolt me. I'm the Flash. It's the worst pain I've ever felt. Okay, if that's real with you, then I'm gonna pay attention to that message in a second once I'm done killing that ghost flame dragon. Instead of giving you like a half-assed response while I'm doing two things at once. Heal me. What you know about the Death Knight lightning blades of glory? Lightning axe blade. Is this first try? This is second try. Technically, we fought a different version of this boss elsewhere, but you know, this is second try. This is second try on this guy. That was a lot of runes I had in my inventory, the ground inventory. Not a bad thing. Oh yeah, this is the part where we run away. Yeah, dragons are always beaten on second tries. I think Joseph Campbell wrote a book about that one time. Let's go. Bullied by gold horned guys? Thankfully not. Dude, I got a somber ancient dragon smithing stone. And a ton of souls. Score. And I've never been anywhere else here. No. I don't want to go this way. I want to go into the swamp. Horns equals horns. Horse. No horse guys to bully me today. Thank you for updating me on the terminology though. I didn't know that horns was a horse. But now I do know. They'll never fool me again. I wonder if I've gone through this area, or if I just like, I chose not to. Dude, this whole album slaps. No horse guy to bully me today. Tree Sentinel slowly fades in. Yeah, thankfully. I'm sure there will be more Tree Sentinels. Cat in heat? Cat is, do male cats go in heat? I think he just wants to, like, step outside of the room. But I can't right now, unfortunately. Due to my roommate's cats. Would puberty be a male heat? I mean that could verily be, right? That makes sense to me. I also saw Frozen Meg. I also yeah. Cause he's just walking around the door. They do mating session. Well, that much I did know they did do that. That's how we get cats. True. So only a slur for North American people is true. Asked if I was a word I can't say, and I said yes, I am a bundle of sticks for fuel. Is that what they call them? Cause to us, what we think you call them is cigarettes, as far as I know. And I guess cigarettes are fuel for some people. Hi everybody. What the heck have I found? This is like some Destiny 2 shit. Oh, please not to jar or anything but that. I promise I won't ever do it again. I swear a living saint I surely will be. This is where they made people into jars, bro. Yeah, I know that part. That part I'm well aware of. But a bundle of sticks for fuel doesn't necessarily register to me as a box of cigarettes. This is the door I came through. Should acquire the materials, just in case these frozen maggots are most useful. You never... This is almost reminding me of the Oblivion Towers. Well, a cigar is like a weird stick with tobacco leaves, and it fuels the mind. Yeah, see, I get that. I can see it. What the hell is this? of the more disturbing characters that I fought. It was not yet fully jarred. I don't like that. I hate when words get twisted down, even the word Nazi is getting watered down and misused. Yeah, I think that one is especially bad because we really shouldn't be calling people who like yell at cashiers Nazis. That's not what that word means. We should really only use that word for like actual Nazis. It's please, society, don't. You're gonna do what you're gonna do, and I can't stop you. But we're all to blame. We're all to blame. It's just part of life, man.
It all started one summer night.
Couple years back, it was crazy. It was a beautiful female. All I remember is
If you want to call people Nazis, at least be right, call them neo-Nazis. I don't think that we should have such a three-letter difference between like a distinction between a very dangerous person and a person that's not that dangerous. I don't know of that one, but I know people using it to hate on others for not placating to them. Yeah, no, I've seen it being thrown around very much in situations where it is not applicable. If it wasn't for them dumb grabs, bro. Oh no, he killed me with that little nosedive. Well played.
Two-step for relief, trying to kiss for me, stuck in trance, days in the park for I went to the dance, Primrose Hill, pretty daffodils, pretty daffodils, pretty daffodils.
Correct. That's interesting that you actually didn't know that. I can't in good faith blame the people that brought the group into existence, but I will blame the modern participants of the group for twisting it and abusing its name.
I can feel you, but in reality,
I don't really know how to respond to that, because I don't know enough about history. that cunt was like a racial slur. It's kind of like a racial slur for like Australians. Real? It's been a completely new place where I didn't notice this at all the first time I came here. And then you're like the real jar? I would say there's a reason why I wouldn't consider it misuse of the name to... Well, it's misuse to use it as hate speech to just call anybody that you don't like that, but there are indeed still bad actors. Shu, I think it's like overly political and you don't really need to bother. Your mind would be clearer without it. You're gonna live? I love feminism, but I'm currently within the jars. I would have loved another like ritual pot or another hefty pot. You can break pottery and kill dragons, but not easily kill the sliced meaty. Yeah, bro, the whatever's inside the pots are savage. They don't call them warrior jars for no reason. It's like an amalgamation of warriors. Why is it always trapped? So I go around here and then something tries to knock me off. Nah. I don't know where to go. I feel trapped, man. I'm getting claustrophobic. Never mind. I found the way out. They walk like you? I'm so used to Liza P, I don't want to dodge roll anymore. The lumpy space creatures are coming on down too. Holy crap, these ones have jars on their heads. They're a little bit more savager. That can't be good. It wasn't too bad. I think this is actually when using my giant explosion pot is actually wise. See? They got blown up. It works so well. Not all of them, mind you, but a huge portion, and get away with a lot of them, should be behind bars or getting help because they're not mentally sound, but that's all I'll say about it. Well, I agree with you there. It's not, yeah, again, that's the issue with identity and ideology. When you combine the two of them, then there's like disorganization that happens. To identify with an ideology curses other people who also identify with said ideology. You really, Miyazaki, you really put this here? You really put this here? This whole little cliff that you can jump down and there's nothing. Thank you though. I do be trying to shred. I don't have to do the whole thing again, man. There's no like. This place is huge. Somebody died on every single one of these jumps. They hit the F key. The jump key. They hit the jump key. They were not hit the jump key. These look some Binding of Isaac type enemies. So fleshy and gooey. They drop the inner meat. Oops. I like to keep one of these handy. It really helped last time. We're not gonna have the same issue. Okay, never mind. Same issue. Actually, just okay, how do we get killed here? It was safe to fall. Then we go all the way in.
Be grateful for this present moment, the only moment that truly exists.
You
Because the
are
past is gone, and the future is uncertain. But what we know right now is this moment, right here, right now.
they put my souls in the unretrievable location.
Do something good for your body, for yourself. You deserve to feel good.
200,000 souls in the unretrievable location.
Just surrender.
I'm offended, to be honest.
All the words.
It means I have to clear this whole dungeon out before I can get those souls back.
Nothing exists except your breath right now. Breathe in and let go.
Alright, this is the Great Fog Wall. I want health. I don't want to lose my 200,000 recruits, man. Frostbite. Okay, I see his game. He's got game. just got gay, man. Dude, that's like Melania's waterfowl frost dance. Melania's snowfowl dance. That shit's cool as hell. I better get that off you. You better give me your weapon, good sir. No, we just get him as a summon, which is actually equivalently cool. I think. Can I get my runes back now? This is an insanely huge area for such a dead end, which is respectable and all. I like that they had the bravery. Not everything has to lead to something unfathomable. But I have to go all the way back to get my 200,000 rupees.
Won't you dance with me? Stop your crying, dance with me. Feel the rhythm of my arms. Don't let's cry now. Dance with me. Stop your tearing up. Don't you hear the music? Don't you feel the happy beat? Bring your paddle and dance with me. We will dance to our own song and whirl around. All of you children gather round. We will dance together.
Good morning, cat. Good morning. We're almost there. Damn, it's crazy to think that we went that far down. Did we even clear out the whole entirety of this place, or is there secretly more? also added like a whole second level. Okay, I think we're approaching the area of no return where my runes are.
All you children gather round. We will dance and we will twirl. We will dance to our own song. We will spin our own world. Won't you dance with me? Stop your crying, dance with me. Feel the rhythm of my arms. Don't let cry now. Dance with me. Stop and stare now. Don't you hear the music? Don't you feel the happy beat? Bring your hands and dance with me. We will dance to our own song and whirl around. All you children gather round. We will dance together.
It's even further. Do we ever even touch this area? We have to go this way.
All you children
Is there a secret way
we
up?
will dance together.
I didn't realize just how deep I lost my runes in here. Which is like, okay, because this place is super trippy. Item as well over here. Damn it. Fuck. Okay, not it. You can like straight up just like, damn, it broke. That was like a one-time opportunity. Damn it.
All children gather round. We will dance together.
I am so good at parkour, guys.
All you children gather round. We will dance to our own song.
Whoa, is this like a secret entrance that I never saw before? Or is this the way that you always come?
Feel the rhythm. We will dance to our own song and whirl around. All you children gather round. We will dance together.
Yeah, that's not meant to be made. It's meant to be made from this side. How do you get up there? Maybe this way. Yeah. Holy shit. Hefty cracked pot is exactly what I was hoping was going to be there. I'm very happy that that's what I was granted for all of my efforts. Now we drop down here, and the fact that there's a door, there's a cracked door too, tells me there's two ways out of here.
thing moving in the middle. Look again. That pale blue dancer. Look again at that dot. Surrounded by all that space. Such a small thing. Almost nothing. Surrounded by darkness. Surrounded by what's called everything else. Look again at that dot. That's here. That stage, that dancer. There's a whole world in that dancer. A microcosm of everyone you love. Everyone you know. Every human being who ever was. When he turns his head, it's not his head turning, but all the heads turn. When she raises her hand, it's not her hand rising, all the hands rising.
No, I can't die. The one thing that can't happen here is my death.
Look again.
Bye-bye.
This is a very small stage in a vast cosmic arena.
No!
No! Struggling for significance. But what's it about? Look again at that dancer. What the fuck? That's it. That's all there is. Us. A lonely speck in the great enveloping cosmic dark. In all this vastness, there is no hint that help will come from elsewhere to save us from ourselves. So I will have a double. Yes, I will fall. Open arms into and out of the own ego. Let go, let go, let go, the great let go. Look again at that dancer. That's you. You're here, that's us. With open arms falling into a deep, dark blue abyss through time and space and regret and privilege and denial and dance. And dance. And dance. Arch up. Look up. To where we were. Where we are. Nothing to do but to treat and be treated with kindness. To preserve one another. To cherish. Cherish the pale blue dark.
There's shows some yoga. Live bed reactions. Yeah, I decided to actually like turn my web camera on, so like it wasn't just like facing directly into blackness, so that like even though I'm doing shit outside of like stream area, there's still like some coherence here. Playing the drums on water bottles. It's actually one of the most entertaining things to do, honestly. You just like you know what I'm saying? Chewing on plastic. My cat loves to do that. My cat also gets confused when I start tribal drumming. But then it'll be like, remember how sharp my teeth are? Dude, you can literally cut through like 700,000 feet of alligators. I don't know. That's what they always say. They're always like alligator teeth are so strong, or their jaws are so strong. I hate that I have caused harm to the world at all, and I must accept my debt to the universe. I play one more off this album again. One time I bit off a spoon, I got that anime protagonist ass teeth. It's like, I know exactly what you're talking about. Dude, I had like the opposite, bro. I was eating like some candies when I was younger. I chewed into like a Maynard Sour Cherry Blaster, and then my tooth got stuck in it, and then it came out with like I spit the candy out with my tooth in it. That was when I was still losing my teeth, obviously, but like yeah. I would do a dancing stream, except that the second I would write dancing stream, I would no longer want to dance. Because that's just a gangster spirit, you know what I'm saying? It just happens. Woo! Okay, I want to keep going. Maybe we just do a dance stream. Nah, I just want to. I think I have to train you first. Live void reaction. What I'm saying. it's literally gonna. Of course, never knew the void could sing. Bro, ain't chatting, but they did. It's kind of funny to actually see myself. I never got to dance before a mirror before. Right when he said stop, my cat like appeared out from below the depths.
It was crazy.
He was just like, what?
All I remember is
with those moves, you go accidentally summon some ancient deity. That's the goal. I could use some ancient deity healing. Why did we ever start dancing? Are you lucky? Are you lucky?
I never thought about it twice. I said, let's get down. I was ready. I was ready to fly. Next thing I knew it, we were on the dance floor. Floating on clouds of ecstasy. I feel you, you feel me. Everyone feeling so good. Sun comes up.
Estelle be absolutely. He's eating some good old
literally. Feel like a mess. Feels like a dream. Lost in a beat. Lost in a wave. Step to the streets. 2 step before we leave. Find a kiss for me. Stuck in trance. Days in the park before I went to the dance. Primrose Hill. Pretty daffodils. Pretty daffodils. Pretty daffodils.
Kills Dragon. This is how you get better at Elden Ring live. I have discovered the golden spin ratio. You are so right. You were so right about that. Dude, those twirls went crazy. Those twirls went crazy. Hold on, I wanna fuck with it a little bit. New spin jutsu master. I do wish. This could be my cardio for the ever. Some good dancing. When I'm in a good state, that usually is like how I spend my nights. Ninjago was traded the first. So true. 4. Spin it. Do you not even think I can read that? Gyro sounds cool. Bro, on TF2 stream community, some explain all 5 lessons of golden spin ratio. They're teaching hermetic principles in the TF2 community servers now. Dancing is such a sacred act. To dance, you must lose yourself. Come with me, or else you're gonna be all wubby jubbly. It gets a bit bizarre at times. Think you should watch/read JoJo? I have no idea. What I do know is that for like at least a little bit, I need to lay down and close my eyes while the world's fractal resettles into an organized state. Upside down. I can't hear anything over Alien Rave. I'm hearing. Yeah, it's peak Alien Rave hours. It's 10 p.m. on a Friday night, bro. Not being biased, JoJo music goes so hard. I believe you. I'm in meditation now. I'm simply laying back and allowing the existence before me to exist as it is. not identifying with this existence. I am simply no more than that. I am. But I could be even less. Emptier in a fuller way. And creating a ground of identity to cling on to a body, a form of any sort. Is suffering. I need to do that. I don't need to do that. The body exists regardless whether or not I cling to it. Me mentally trying to keep it alive does not keep it alive. It exists because it exists. A stream message? I forgot I was on stream. Estelle's successfully woken me up. Hey, hero. Hey, cat language. Nah, real. Cat do be like that. He wants pets now. Catwoman. They would like. All his effort just to put the sweater on backwards. Life is truly succeeding. I don't even think he's he's returning to the wakeful world. I think he's just going right to bed. I think I'll just call it here today. Night night, folks. My cat wants to take a night as well.